Reading through the Bible in 1 year, May 13th, Numbers 22, Psalm 62 through 63, Isaiah 11 through 12, and James chapter 5. The Israelites traveled on and camped in the plains of Moab, near the Jordan across from Jericho. Now Balak, the son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. And Moab was terrified of the people because they were numerous, and Moab dreaded the Israelites. So the Moabites said to the elders of Midian, "This horde will devour everything around us, like an ox eats up the grass or the green plants of the field." Make sure to lose notes. Sweet. Something about the field. There we go. Since Balak, son of Zippor, was Moab's king at the time, he sent messengers to Balaam, son of Beor, at Pethor, which is by the Euphrates in the land of his people. And Balak said to him, "Look, a people has come out of Egypt, and they cover the surface of the land, and they are living right across from me. Please come and put a curse on these people for me, because they are more powerful than I am. I may be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land. For I know that those who you bless are blessed, and those whom you curse are cursed." The elders of Moab and Midian departed with fees for divination in hand, and they came to Balaam and reported Balak's words to him. And he said to them, "Spend the night here, and I will give you the answer that Yahweh," this is super important, "tells me." So the officials of Moab stayed with Balaam. Then God came to Balaam and said, "Who are these men with you?" Balaam replied to God, "Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, sent this message to me. Look, a people has come out of Egypt, and they cover the surface of the land. Now come and put a curse on them for me. I may be able to fight against them and drive them away." Then God said to Balaam, "You are not to go with them. You are not to curse this people, for they are blessed." So Balaam got up in the morning and said to Balak's officials, "Go back to your land, because the Lord, Yahweh, has refused to let me go with you." The officials of Moab arose, returned to Balak, and reported, "Balaam has refused to come with us." Balak sent officials again who were more numerous and higher in rank than the others. They came to Balaam and said to him, "This is what Balak, son of Zippor, says. Let nothing keep you from coming to me, for I will greatly honor you and do whatever you ask me. So please come and put a curse on these people for me." But Balaam responded to the servants of Balak, "If Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not go against the command of the Lord my God." Remember, he's not a Jew. He's not an Israelite. And he's calling Yahweh the Lord his God. To do anything small or great, please stay here overnight as the others did, so that I may find out what else the Lord has to tell you from me. What else the Lord has to tell me. There we go. God came to Balaam at night and said to him, "Since these men have come to summon you, get up and go with them. But you must only do what I tell you." When he got up in the morning, Balaam saddled his donkey and went with the officials of Moab. But God was incensed that Balaam was going, because he had originally told him not to. And the angel of the Lord took his stand on the path to oppose him. Balaam was riding his donkey, and his two servants were with him. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing on the path with a drawn sword in his hand, she turned off the path and went into the field. So Balaam hit her to return to her path. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow passage between the vineyards, with a stone wall on either side. And the donkey saw the angel of the Lord and pressed herself against the wall, squeezing Balaam's foot against it. So he hit her again. The angel of the Lord went ahead and stood in a narrow place, where there was no room to turn to the right or the left. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she crouched down under Balaam. So he became furious and beat the donkey with his stick. And the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and she asked Balaam, "What have I done to you that you have beaten me these 3 times?" Balaam answered the donkey, "You made me look like a fool. If I had my sword in my hand, I'd kill you now." But the donkey said, Am I not the donkey you've ridden all your life until today? Have I ever treated you this way before?" "No," he replied. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the path with a drawn sword in his hand. And Balaam knelt low and bowed in worship on his face. And the angel of the Lord asked him, "Why have you beaten your donkey these 3 times? Look, I came out to oppose you, because I consider what you are doing to be evil. The donkey saw me and turned away from me these 3 times. If she had not turned away from me, I would have killed you by now and let her live." Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, "I have sinned, for I did not know that you were standing in the path to confront me. And now, if it is evil in your sight, I will go back." The angel of the Lord said to Balaam, "Go with the men, but you are to say only what I tell you." So Balaam went with Balak's officials. When Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him at the Moabite city on the Arnon border at the edge of his territory. And Balak asked Balaam, "Did I not send you an urgent summons? Why did you not come to me? Am I really not able to reward you?" And Balaam said to him, "Look, I have come to you, but can I say anything I want? I must speak only the message that God puts in my mouth." So Balaam went with Balak, and they came to Kerioth-Huzoth. Balak sacrificed sheep and cattle and goats and sent for Balaam and all the officials who were with him. In the morning, Balak took Balaam and brought him to Bemoth Baal. From there, he saw the outskirts of the people's camp. I'm going to bring up the rest of the notes here for you because there are many. If you don't know this section, it's great. However, there is something later on referred to as the sin of Balaam and the curse of Balaam. We'll get to that later when this is done, but just know ahead of time that if you've heard about that before, and yet you see Balaam here doing well and doing the things of God, there's a reason that that comes up later. All right, let's go ahead and move on to Psalms 62 through 63. I am at rest in God alone. My salvation comes from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my stronghold. I will never be shaken. How long will you threaten a man? Will all of you attack as if he were as if he were a leaning wall or a tottering fence? They only plan to bring him down from his high position. They take pleasure in lying. They bless with their mouths, but they curse inwardly. Rest in God alone, my soul, for my hope comes from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my stronghold. I will not be shaken. My salvation and glory depend on God, my strong rock. My refuge is in God. Trust in him at all times, you people. Pour out your hearts before him. God is our refuge. Common people are only a vapor. Important people, an illusion. Together on a scale, they weigh less than a vapor. Place no trust in oppression or a false hope in robbery. If wealth increases, don't set your heart on it. God has spoken once, and I have heard this twice. Strength belongs to God, and faithful love belongs to you, Lord. For you repay each according to his works. Now Psalm 63. God, you are my God. I eagerly seek you. I thirst for you. My body faints for you, in a land that is dry, desolate, and without water. So I gaze on you in the sanctuary to see your strength and your glory. My lips glorify you, because your faithful love is better than life. So I will bless you as long as I live. At your name I will lift up my hands. You satisfy me as with rich food. My mouth will praise you with joyful lips. When I think of you as I lie on my bed, I meditate on you during the night watches. Because you are my helper, I will rejoice in the shadow of your wings. I follow close to you. Your right hand holds on to me. But those who intend to, I lost my line, or lost the section. There we go. But those who intend to destroy my life will go into the depths of the earth. They will be given over to the power of the sword, and they will become a meal for jackals. But the king will rejoice in God. All who swear by him will boast, for the mouth of liars will be shut. And that is all the notes. Let's move on to Isaiah 11 through 12. Then a shoot will grow from the stump of Jesse, and a branch from his roots will bear fruit. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, a spirit of wisdom and understanding, a spirit of counsel and strength, a spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord, and of the fear of the Lord. His delight will be in the fear of the Lord, and he will not judge by what his eyes see. He will not execute justice by what he hears with his ears, but he will judge the poor righteously and execute justice for the oppressed of the land. He will strike the land with a scepter from his mouth, and he will kill the wicked with a command from his lips. Righteousness will be a belt around his hips, and faithfulness will be a belt around his waist. The wolf will dwell with the lamb, and the leopard will lie down with the goat. The calf, the young lion, and the fattened calf will be together. A child will lead them. A cow and the bear will graze. Their young ones will lie down together. The calf, the young lion, and the fattened calf will be together, and a child will lead them. The cow and the bear will graze. Their young ones will lie down together, and the lion will eat straw like cattle. An infant will play beside the cobra's pit, and a toddler will put his hand into a snake's den. They will not harm or destroy each other on my entire holy mountain, for the land will be as full of the knowledge of the Lord as the sea is filled with water. On that day, the root of Jesse will stand as a banner for the peoples. The nations will look to him for guidance, and his resting place will be glorious. On that day, the Lord will extend his hand a second time to recover the remnant of his people who survive from Assyria, Egypt, Pathros, Cush, Elam, Shinar, Hamath, and the coasts and islands of the west. He will lift up a banner for the nations and gather the dispersed of Israel. He will collect the scattered of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Ephraim's envy will cease. Judah's harassing will end. Ephraim will no longer be envious of Judah, and Judah will no longer harass Ephraim. But they will swoop down on the Philistine flank to the west. Together they will plunder the people of the east. They will extend their power over Edom and Moab, and the Ammonites will be their subjects. The Lord will divide the Gulf of Suez, and he will wave his hand over the Euphrates with his mighty wind, and will split it into 7 streams, letting people walk through on foot. There will be a highway for the remnant of his people who will survive from Assyria, as there was for Israel when they came up from the land of Egypt. Now chapter 12. There's a large section of notes here. I want to be certain that you can see it all. There we go. Like I said, it's large. Chapter 12. On that day you will say, I will give thanks to you, Lord. Although you were angry with me, your anger has turned away, and you have comforted me. Indeed, God is my salvation. I will trust him and will not be afraid. For the Lord himself is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. You will joyfully draw water from the springs of salvation. And on that day you will say, give thanks to the Lord, proclaim his name, Make his works known among the peoples. Declare that his name is exalted. Sing to the Lord, for he has done glorious things. Let this be known throughout the... I lost my spot. There we go, verse 5. Man, I was really lost. Sing to the Lord, for he has done glorious things. Let this be known throughout the earth. Cry out and sing, citizen of Zion, for the Holy One of Israel is among you in his greatness. Pulling up the rest of the notes here for you, and there they are. So move on to James chapter 5, and I'll put the notes back like they were before. There we go. All right. James chapter 5. Come now, you rich people. Weep and wail over the miseries that are coming on you. Your wealth has rotted, and your clothes are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver are corroded, and their corrosion will be a witness against you, and will eat your flesh like fire. You have stored up treasure in these last days. Look, the pay that you withheld from the workers who mowed your field cries out, and the outcry of the harvesters has reached the ears of the Lord of armies. You have lived luxuriously on the earth, and have indulged yourselves. You have fattened your hearts in a day of slaughter. You have condemned, you have murdered the righteous, who does not resist you. Therefore, brothers and sisters, be patient until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth, and is patient with it until it receives the early and the late rains. You also must be patient. Strengthen your hearts, because the Lord's coming is near. Brothers and sisters, do not complain about one another, so that you will not be judged. Look, the judge stands at the door. Brothers and sisters, and again, remember, every time you see brothers and sisters, it means fellow Christians. Take the prophets, who spoke in the Lord's name, as an example of suffering and patience. See, we count as blessed those who have endured. You have heard of Job's endurance, and have seen the outcome that the Lord has brought about. The Lord is compassionate and merciful. Above all, my brothers and sisters, do not swear, either by heaven or by earth, or with any other oath, but let your yes mean yes, and your no mean no, so that you won't fall under judgment. Is anyone among you suffering? He should pray. Is anyone cheerful? He should sing praises. Is anyone among you sick? He should call for the elders of the church, and they are to pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord. The prayer of faith will save the sick person, and the Lord will raise him up. If he has committed sins, he will be forgiven. Therefore, confess your sins to one another, and pray for one another, so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is very powerful in its effect. Elijah was a human being, as are we, and he prayed earnestly that it would not rain, and for 3 years and 6 months it did not rain on the land. Then he prayed again, and the sky gave rain, and the land produced its fruit. My brothers and sisters, if any among you strays from the truth, and someone turns him back, let that person know that whoever turns a sinner from his error, or rather from the error of his way, will save his soul from death and cover a multitude of sins. Pulling in lots of notes here for you. Again, this is a great section of text. There's just tons and tons and tons of good notes here. And there we go. All right, that's all the notes for today. And that's all the text we have. So God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Behold, the word of the Lord.